In the low desert, timing is everything. Plant at the right time and your chances of success go way up. Plant too late and your garden will struggle. Today, I'll show you exactly what to plant this month and share my top 3 tips to set you up for success. And we'll also take a peek at how that bed we planted last month is doing. I'm Angela from Growing in the Garden. My garden's in Mesa, Arizona. I want to help you succeed even if you're gardening in tough conditions. First, let's talk about which vegetables to plant this month. Remember, the earlier you can plant in the month, the better. Give those roots time to get established before the heat. From seeds, plant amaranth, beans, and peanuts. Did you know you could grow peanuts? They aren't nuts like almonds or walnuts that grow on a tree. They're actually seeds that grow underground, kind of like potatoes. Open up the peanut, plant the seed, and a plant grows above ground. Flowers develop, and then they push down into the soil, and that's where the peanuts will develop. It takes a few months, the plant will die back, and then you pull the peanuts up and harvest them. Now let's look at the crops that you plant from seed or transplant. Armenian cucumbers, cantaloupe, loofah, Malabar spinach, okra, roselle hibiscus, watermelon, and sesame. Here's why you should grow roselle hibiscus. It grows well here. I've grown it every year since 2018, and it loves our summers. It doesn't mind full sun and all that summer heat. Here's another reason. A recent study found that roselle tea ranks highest out of 282 different beverages in antioxidants, higher than green tea and matcha. It has a similar flavor to cranberry juice, but really it has its own flavor. I like it all on its own. So good. I'd never even thought about growing sesame until I heard a gardener in a cool climate talk about how well it does in hot summers. She was right. Sesame loves our hot summers and the bees love it too. You grow it, of course, from sesame seeds. You could get them off a bun, but you'll probably have better luck buying seeds. Plant it from seed or transplant. April is also a good time to plant peppers and eggplants from transplants. And it's also time to plant sweet potato slips. Now let's talk about herbs. We're right at the end of the planting window for some of our favorite perennial herbs like lavender, thyme, rosemary, sage, lemon verbena, and oregano. Add basil to your garden this month. There are so many fun varieties. Whether you plant from seed or transplant, pick a few types and add them to your garden. Before we move on to flowers, let's take a look at how this garden bed I planted out last month is doing. The seeds have emerged and the tomatoes are growing. So I'm gonna spend some time later thinning out some of these seeds, trellising the tomatoes, and adding mulch to this bed. As temperatures warm up, things should really start taking off. Let's look at everything that's blooming in the garden right now. If you've been following along, remember we planted these together last fall. And look at them now. The reality is, as temperatures climb, these blooms are going to fade. If you go into the nursery right now, they're full of beautiful flowers. Unfortunately, they aren't going to last. Instead, use this list and buy warm season flowers that will bloom all through summer. Being an informed consumer will save you so much money and make your garden look even better. So if you want to keep blooms going all summer long, here's what to plant right now. Plant sunflowers and tithonia from seed. Choose several different varieties. Plant some outside of your beds to provide shade. Plant transplants of mahogany splendor, vinca, angelonia, gomphrena, and lisianthus. Get Lisianthus transplants in the ground as soon as possible. They grow well in warm weather and bloom all summer, but their roots like to get established in cool soil. The blooms look like roses and they last up to 2 weeks in the vase. These are beautiful, incredible flowers. Get them planted if you can find them. Plant zinnias from seeds or transplant. You can see the seeds I planted in this bed starting to sprout. I'll thin and mulch them. As the snapdragons finish with the heat, I'll plant zinnias in those beds. I'm gonna start some zinnias indoors so they're ready to go. Here's how I do it. Hydrate your potting soil and fill your seed starting trays. Place the zinnia seeds with the pointy side down. Lightly cover with vermiculite and take them inside under lights until you're ready to plant. Here are the other flower seeds you can start indoors this month. And here are the vegetables to start indoors in April. Both of these calendars are available on my website, growinginthegarden.com. Now that you know what to plant, here are 3 tips to help your garden thrive. Keep your worms fed. One of the best things you can do for your garden is to feed your worms. I have a lot of bins and sometimes this can be a challenge. Check your bins, and when the food is gone, it's time to feed them. As we head into the warmer months, it's crucial to keep your soil microbially active. And the best way to do that? In-bed vermicomposting bins. My next tip, use companion planting principles. What does that look like? Here's an easy one. Plant basil with your tomatoes. The bees and your tomatoes will thank you. Here's another example. I have 3 garden beds, and in each of those, I planted the 3 sisters, corn, beans, and squash. I planted the corn first. When it was a few inches tall, I planted the beans and squash. Each of those crops will benefit one another in different ways. We'll check on these beds next month and see how they're doing. Companion planting can be as simple as adding an herb and a flower to each garden bed. It doesn't need to be complicated. Here's a list of my favorite warm season companion plants to add to your garden right now. My last tip, look ahead and make a plan. You've probably harvested most of your cool season crops, but some things like onions and garlic are still growing. They're usually ready to harvest the end of April or May. What are you going to plant in those spots? The earlier you can get crops planted, the better. Have seeds or seedlings ready to go. Don't leave empty spots in your garden. Need ideas? Take a look at my guides. They're available on my website. April's a big month for gardening in the low desert, but I'm here to help. Use the resources on my website, my calendars and guides. You can do this. Let's make it a great month. If you would like to learn more, consider joining Growing in the Garden Academy. I teach a live online course every month about seasonal topics, and members have access to recordings of all past classes. Academy members also receive my garden journal, what I'm planting, harvesting, and doing in my garden, delivered to their inbox every 2 weeks. I hope to see you there. Yeah, right? And I should have drunk right then.
Yes.
Okay.
Do that one more time.
Okay, the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay, this is really strong. Start over. Sorry, I wasn't thinking my next line. Okay, I changed it up. Sorry. Should I wait? I need people to go to my website.